I've just returned from New Hampshire, where I hit the campaign trail with Senator John McCain. He's taken some pretty controversial positions in his fight to be the GOP candidate for president, most notably his strong support for the troop surge in Iraq and the war in general. As we spoke, he was confident, determined, above all direct. But could that controversial stance on the war derail the Straight Talk Express? I spent the day with him for the latest installment of our series, The Contenders.
Coffee? Yep, got it.
John McCain is back on the bus, back in his element, talking.
They want the war over, but you'd have to explain, and no one has yet explained who holds that view, how Joe Lieberman was reelected in the state of Connecticut.
Meet again, old friend.
He's back in New Hampshire, the state he won in the 2000 campaign, trying to recapture the magic.
I got to come back as if we were starting all over from the beginning. Nobody that comes to this state had better take a single vote for granted.
He's still got a lot of support up here.
Nice to see you.
You are Wendy. I'm a nurse.
Thank you, Wendy.
I've loved you from day one.
And everywhere he goes, McCain takes on all comers, all questions, a rolling, no-holds-barred political free-for-all, unlike most other American campaigns these days.
What direct words do you have for the president of Iran?
How long can the country fight a war that the people don't really support?
What issues separate you from Rudolph Giuliani?
Can I ask some specific questions about sort of gay rights issues?
There's a bill going before the Senate for vote called the Cheeseburger Bill. And I'd just like to know what your position is on that.
Sometimes following John McCain on the campaign trail these days like we did, bantering on the back of the bus, watching him work a crowd, or listening to him call for sweeping reform.
And I want to tell you, as President of the United States, the first pork barrel bill that comes to my desk, I will veto it and make the author of it famous. I promise you that.
You almost feel as if it could be 2000 again, when he was the maverick outsider riding a lightning bolt connection to the American political psyche, when it all seems so natural, so much fun. But then, open your eyes. There's one huge difference this time around.
The fact is, I know that the war in Iraq has been long, and it's been hard, and it's been difficult, and it's been frustrating, and all of us agonized.
Iraq shadows John McCain's campaign this year like a storm cloud. McCain backed the war from the start, has called for sending more troops to Iraq ever since, and strongly supports Bush's surge of troops to Baghdad now. And he is utterly unapologetic about it. Is the fact that you've been so supportive of President Bush, is really that a liability for you, that you're joined at the hip with the president?
Sure.
He's in 30% in the polls.
Sure, but one, you got to do what's right. Second, there's a little irony that I was the greatest critic of the way the war was mismanaged, but life isn't fair. There's so much at stake here in this conflict that, I really must do what's right, Terry. I have no choice, nor would I consider any other choice.
No other choice. That's pure John McCain. Blunt, unyielding, deploying his principles as political weapons. But he freely admits this time it could cost him the race.
I am not in any way concerned about my political future when it comes to this war. I have to do what's right. I would much rather lose a campaign than lose a war.
It's delicious, Harold. It is great stuff.
But that hardly means McCain is bracing himself to lose this campaign. Far from it. We spent a long day with him as he stumped for votes across northern New Hampshire, still in the grip of winter, a place where votes are few and far between. It's a sign of how hard he's running, how much work he knows he has to do.
That's good, that's good.
You concerned about your standing in the polls right now? That you aren't the front runner. Everybody expected you to be the front runner.
Yeah, we're a little concerned, obviously. I mean, to say that, it sounds great, but I think this is the beginning of the campaign. I'm glad where we are financially, politically, every other way. I'm happy. In these early states, we are either tied or ahead with all of our competitors, so I'm happy about that. But do we have a lot of work to do? Sure.
Hey, how are you? Good luck to you. See you. Thank you.
He stopped at a gun shop to check the merchandise and shore up his conservative credentials.
There you go.
No harm with voters here having your picture taken brandishing a weapon.
Oh, wow.
McCain has had a running feud with many on the right wing of the Republican Party who see his maverick ways as a kind of treason to first principles. So this time around, he's reached out to the NRA, to evangelical leaders like Jerry Falwell, and to others on the right, but he bristles at the notion that he's changed his positions.
I'm moving to the right, not recalibrate. If you look at my positions on literally every issue, I haven't changed. I'm no different from what I was. And that's a tiny bit frustrating to me, this portrayal, well, he's pandered to this or done that. I don't do that.
What he does do is what he's always done, play it as straight as possible, a directness that still startles. Listen to what he says about the scandal surrounding the treatment of wounded Iraq War veterans.
When you heard about what was going on at Walter Reed, what was your reaction?
Embarrassment and shame that we as a nation would be allowing such a thing to happen, and frankly embarrassment that I didn't know about it because I'm a frequent visitor there, and it's my responsibility to know about it.
Do you think you bear some personal responsibility for what happened to Walter Reed?
Absolutely. And I think that it may appropriately make people think a little less of me.
Only a truly confident or cagey politician would invite voters to think less of him, but McCain has branded himself as a man whose personal experience of war, shot down in Vietnam 40 years ago, held prisoner and tortured for 5 years, equips him now to face anything life can throw at him.
I've been tested, there's no doubt about that. I've been tested in a broad variety of ways. And sometimes I haven't always measured up. But I've been tested that I think has made me qualified.
Specifically, how so? When you think about it.
I've looked death in the face, among other things. I've faced many situations that require performance.
And you have a confidence born of that.
Absolutely.
In many ways, this is John McCain's last fight. He's 70 years old now and would be the oldest president ever elected.
The gentleman beside me is the next president of the United States.
And he's convinced that here in New Hampshire, the place where he bottled that lightning back in 2000, he can do it again.
I'm the same person, a little smarter, not a lot smarter, but a little smarter, and I am exactly the same person. And how do I convince people and counter that kind of insidious, in my view, insidious thing that circulates around, is come and look you in the eye and tell you again who I am, what I stand for, and what I believe in, and I believe I can overcome this idiotic, unfair, frankly, comments about whether I've changed or not. I'm not changing, my dear friend.
The maverick candidate, still John McCain.